Hey everybody, hello rivals, and welcome to the $1,000 social media jumpstarter. So if you're basically, hopefully not just looking for some cash, because this is really, it's an active service to the people that are on your list, the people that you're serving. But at the same time, yes, you should be getting paid for what you do. But yes, Facebook's all over the place and everyone's competing at the same time. And it's not like sort of the 90s where the person with the money can just advertise and nobody else does. This is kind of a time in history where you're not just competing with, let's say, other advertisers, but you're competing with just everybody doing their cat video, their dog video, their who knows what sort of weekend plans and that whatever just happened over New Year's or something. So if you want to earn the $1,000 relatively quickly, to begin with, let's just sort of admit that it's actually not that much money and it's actually not that hard. But you might find that what you're dealing with first is anxiety that makes you focus on yourself rather than kind of how big the world is and how there's 7 to 8 billion people and there's something so many billions of people on Facebook and people that need your help. You've got to drop the pressure, you've got to drop the anxiety. So if you put in the code DUCK, I would have sent you this video. So this is the duck picture. I didn't draw this because I can't draw a duck. But the jump starter, just to get you into what should you be focusing on to get started. If this is the way I see the issue, so with Jackie Hutton and myself, kind of helping so many people to get their businesses up and running, and then the 6 figures, and then multiple 6 figures, and to really get them earning. What we find the issue is with most of the people out there is that it's basically they have no plan at all, and they've got maybe a web page. At the top of the web page, maybe it's completely wasted space because it says, "Hi, welcome to my web page," totally off topic from whatever it is that they're selling. "Hi, welcome to my web page." And then on their social media accounts, they're basically just putting up a post on their newsfeed, just going, "Maybe this will work, then maybe this will work, and maybe this will work." And they have absolutely no structure. I would like to, after this actually, I would like to show you the calendar that Jackie and I basically created to move our business from the 300,000 to the $1 million per year, just so you can see the boxes that we think through. And then I want to show you a 9-box plan, which is all to do with Facebook groups, which is something that perhaps that if you were to think of the average person is just throwing spaghetti at the wall and just seeing what sticks. Someone let's say Richard Branson, someone Tony Robbins, they have boxes that contain what their efforts are going to be and what their team's efforts are going to be, so they can sort of step back and see how everything's going instead of it just being a big spaghetti mess. I'll show you what I mean, but this is what I probably predict that you're doing, is that you're telling people about how good you are, and you don't necessarily have a system to actually make any form of traction at all, probably, which can then cause anxiety as to well, then how can I earn $1,000 in my practice? Well, let's take a look at the P's to begin with. So to begin with, price. You need to pick one and stick to it. So let's say if you're just starting with one-on-one, if I can suggest that you do say perhaps $200 an hour, it's that when I started in clinical hypnotherapy, $200 an hour, $400 for 2 hours of hypnotherapy. You pick a price and be done with it. If you just had one program that has 5 sessions, it could be anxiety, it could be depression, it could be teaching people how to cook, whatever it is that you do. Let's say it's $200 a session. People are used to spending that already. And with a phone call I just had before, just booking somebody in, it doesn't matter how many questions she has. I've got a system where it's just appointment, program, pause. You're looking to make an appointment, the program's this, pause. Then she asks me all the questions, I answer them. But I don't have to stress because I've just booked her in for the program, if that makes sense. You need a system, you need a strategy. So if you can, let's start with say $200 times 5 sessions. That's $1,000 there. But these other P's, what they're about, is that when you're advertising something, I've seen so many people advertising their ego, or they're saying, here's an ad why you need a coach, and they're really not coming from the other person's point of view. Think about why should somebody care about your ad? Why should somebody care about your ad? The only reason anyone's going to pay any attention to your stuff online is if you are not only standing out from the crowd, but you're solving a problem that the other person has. Do you know what I mean? If you just sort of go, instead of solving a problem and having a price, which is already a business, let's say $1,000, So like, I've got this anxiety program, $200, 5 sessions, $1,000. The problem is anxiety, talking about anxiety. Already that's a business. You can have a web page, you can have traffic to it, and we'll show you how to do that. We'll talk through how to do that. But most people, they don't say like, oh, I can help you with anxiety. They say, I can help you with everything. Because their anxiety as a practitioner, or their anxiety as an entrepreneur, or their anxiety as the business person says, I don't want to miss out on all the potential people who could come. So they don't stick to one problem that their audience might respond to. Let's say like that people have a to-do list on their brain and they're moving forward with their to-do list. They don't care about all the Facebook posts that are there. They're looking for something that can help them with their problem. Or as they're scrolling, looking for cats and who knows what on Facebook. They're scrolling and the thing that will catch their eye is the text and the words that respond to their problem. Like, how to overcome anxiety. The next one that you need is what we call the pillars. So with pillars, let's say like with my smoking program, this lady again that just like booked in just so many minutes ago, she's asking like, oh, with the hypnosis, how does it work? Because clinical hypnotherapist, 11 years, how does it work? How does the hypnosis work? I'm not going to give her a 2-year rundown of the course that I did. I'm not going to say, well, there was the Cert 4, there was the diploma, there's Milton Erickson, there's like all these, famous people, there's all the parts of the brain. The pillars is, let's say like three things that you can say about your problem. Let's say if your problem is anxiety, and you want to say three things about it. When I talk about the smoking, I go, there's the nicotine addiction, the habits, and the emotional battle. So let's say like with anxiety, 3 pillars are just any 3 things that you can say about the problem. Already this, the problem and the pillars is so much more advanced in getting you to think about your client's point of view or your followers' point of view from where they're coming from than what I'm seeing almost anyone post. Just like, here's my stuff, maybe this will work. Here's my stuff, maybe this will work. Instead, what if it was like, how to fix anxiety, and the 3 things you said was like symptoms, treatments, sorry, my handwriting's a little bit bad, and causes. What causes it? How do you know if I have it? So let's say like if you had a post that said, how to know if you have anxiety, here's the causes, here's the symptoms that says whether or not you have it, and here's the treatment. The next thing that you can do is create what we call a package. The package is then the 5 sessions of therapy or something, or the 5 treatments at $200, and there's your $1,000, if that makes sense. So it's, people need you to come from their point of view. And then the last P is basically to promote. And so promoting is where you need to make sure, like, here's, like when I was talking about like all of the different boxes. Here's something that that I'm willing to bet that you've never done. Take the one ad you have and come up with 20 different ways it can look. Take the one ad you have and get a piece of paper to begin with, like draw 20 boxes and come up with ideas, 20 different fonts, 20 different colors, 20 different pictures, and come up with 20 different ways that it can look. The same text, the same headline, the same, I help people with anxiety, the same, let me tell you what the cause is. Like maybe it's you're working too hard. The symptoms, maybe that you find that you're disinterested or angry at people, too snappy. Treatment, let me tell you how to fix it. And then post that with your package, with your offer at the end, and promote it looking 20 different ways as a test. And so there's also like with someone that I've just teamed up with recently, because like I often end up working with promotional partners. I put my things out there. I usually come up with very unique solutions that the marketplace tends to want. And then let's say they have a list of, let's say like, 3,000 people or 4,000 people on a list that are very hungry for the solutions that I have. So it's not just promoting by using platforms like Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, or smoke signals, whatever you want to do. But there's also that when you put yourself out there in a way that really gets noticed, promotional partners pick you up as well, and they go like, well, can we cut a deal? Like just 2 days ago that we just worked out an ad which is in the works at the moment that's going out early next week. But Does this all make sense, like so far? Like the 5Ps we've talked about, the price, you need to pick one price, not go, oh, we don't even know. So like, just to give you sort of an insight, this phone call that I just had with this lady that I just booked in her husband just like, minutes ago before this, she said that she called 2 hypnotherapists. One was me, the second one she called, and one was some other person. The some other person, they asked, well, like, how much, they're asking, what's the price? And they're like, oh, it depends. If we get him cured from cigarettes in 1 session, then it's this much. If we get him cured in 3 sessions, then it's this much. And if he has other issues, I don't know, we work it out from there depending on what kind of a personality he is. So confusing that they've just gone like, I'm sorry, can I call you back? They called me and booked in. And the other people will be like, oh, they weren't ready to quit smoking yet. That wasn't it, they booked in with me. So the people that like, you might be saying, oh, they're not ready for my hypnotherapy, they're not ready for my NLP, they're not ready for my coaching, they're not ready for my, whatever it is that you provide for the product. I guarantee, more than likely, they've actually gone and actually purchased a high-priced product from someone else. I remember like with one of my coaches that I'm going like, I really don't want to spend $300 today on a coach. So if they've got a program, if they've got a book that's $30, maybe I'll buy that, but I'm definitely not going to spend $300 today on, someone who's just going to tell me, just work harder or whatever. By the end of the day, I'd sign up for a $20,000 coach, because what they had was really speaking to me about the problems that I was dealing with. They broke it down into the pillars. They gave me a price, one price, not like 16 different versions depending on who I am. They've only got one product. They've only got one product. So many of these millionaires that are out there, they turn from 6 to 7 figures when they stopped selling 7 different programs and narrowed and focused in on one. So now that we're getting a little bit advanced here, because we're talking about the jump starter, but I hope this really helps to understand. I'm just going to get something to wipe that with. It's a shame to wipe off the duck. Such a good duck. So what I want from you is that if you've seen this video, as a minimum, what I really, really want you to do, give me a summary in the comment section of wherever you found this and tell me what you've learnt. Or else, just don't bother doing anything ever. Because if you're someone who takes action and be like, here's what I learned, here it is in the comment section, you're probably an action taker. You're probably someone who's in the habit of learning, applying, speed of implementation. If you're interesting ideas, it's all theoretical, it's not. This is practical, not theoretical. But if you're like, it's all good ideas, I'll do it tomorrow. Quit, give up, go home, and leave the industry, please, because it's making it harder for the people who actually want to put the effort in. You need to be someone who's active, especially in this Entrepreneurs Rivalry group. We've actually just deleted 60 people from the group today, which is, it's nuts, I know. But just thinking about it, it's like that what we've done is that the people that don't belong in the group, because what are they doing? They're just like creepers taking up space. What are they there for? They're not actually going to do any good. They're actually just giving a bad name to the industry, making people think it's so hard to succeed. No, you're just lazy. Not you, them, if that makes sense. But this is really important to know that if you want to be successful, why aren't you talking to me in the comment section? You know what I mean? If you want to get $1,000, why aren't you talking to me in the comment section? You can't even do that? Well, then you need to be more active than what you're being. Be more joyful than what you're being. Be more enthusiastic than what you're being, and you will get there, because how you do one thing is how you do the other, how you do anything. This stuff is going to be more advanced now that we're talking about, and I just want to cover it off quickly, but I just want you to think in a different way than perhaps what you've been thinking about before. So I'm going to use a different color. It looks a little bit light. But here's how most people think about Facebook. All right. They get their phone. It's like this. They get their phone. They're like, cool. They scroll. And then a business coach goes, you should post on Facebook. Oh, okay, I'll put one post on Facebook. And then that's it forever. No strategy. Or every week they're like, I'll get a VA to put something on my wall. What the hell? So here's how Jackie and I have done so well. We divide things up into boxes. With the calendar, how there's the days of the week. We just did a whole plan today, and I'll show it to you in a bit, but like, to begin with, like, I guarantee you're not doing this, and this is a behind the scenes that no one's showing you. The first, let's say, Facebook groups that you should create for yourself. The first one is your private resource dump. Get yourself one of these, because whenever you make an ebook, whenever you make a recording, whenever you make anything, if you can make one Facebook group, my brother and I have one called Blue Harvest. We don't invite anyone in it. It's basically just mine now. I just like use it just to dump things so I can find it later. This is your group where you can dump things so you can find it later. Jackie and I have another one. It's the dump things in so you can find them later group. The next one is your big community. Your big community. This one should be your biggest group there is. Don't put too much pressure on this group to do anything than just get bigger and active. As in, like, don't delete people from it. This is your big community. So when people go like, oh, if a Facebook group's not active, you should delete people from it. Like, oh no, like you should try to get it as big as possible. No, what they're talking about, two different groups here, two different philosophies here. Because the next group is your challenge group. This is the one you're tough with. Like, this is our entrepreneur's rivalry. This is like my how to cure addiction with hypnotherapy group that just gets bigger and bigger, right? I give free resources, I ask for nothing back. It's just my community. The challenge, the entrepreneur's rivalry, we kick people out if they're not doing well. Like if they're doing nothing, we kick them out. So the challenge is a living group. The community is one, you try to make it as living as possible, but it's really, it's kind of like it's your big collection, if that makes sense. Then you have the accountability. So we have one called the Action Month. Everybody should have an accountability group for their students or for their clients. No matter who, like, if you're selling golf balls, you're still building a community of people who like golf. People in the mindset of like, oh, but like my clients have anxiety, they're private, or they play golf, they're golf balls. Like, how am I going to build a community, accountability about golf balls? You've got to change the thinking, because like if they have golf balls, they play golf. If there's anxiety, you can pick a theme about like, well, what's the task that they're trying to complete? Is it business? Is it something else? Everyone should have an accountability action month group. The next one, like if you want to go much bigger, you need a sales team group. We call this one for us, we call it the crew room. So this is like where we have our meetings. This is like where we talk about like, our targets. The next one is our marketing group. So our marketing team group. And then there's our three product groups. So there's tier 1, tier 2, and tier 3, depending kind of like at what level they're in. So we actually use 6 for ours, so that we don't use 9 groups, we're using 12. But thinking about like all of these different boxes that we're using, does it make sense like how the internet holds this for us? And if I need to find, oh, where's a resource? I wrote something that would be really good for my action month. Well, I'm going to go to my private resource dump, find it, and give it to my people for action month. Or the sales team, like they need to know how to sell better. I'll go back to my private resource dump and get the sales team to learn from something that I've given them there. Or let's say that like the marketing team, they're like, where are your best ads? Well, go to my big community and go through it, or like milk my big community and use it to fill the next challenge, if that makes sense. The sales team, it's like, well, they're like, oh, where do I put people once I've sold to them? Or put them in tier 1 or 2, depending where they're going. Does it make sense? Like these groups interact with each other. And what I find is like just most people out there have almost like no strategy whatsoever. So that particular 9 groups, that's not something that you have to do. But what I'd really like to get you to do is to do the 5 Ps. Then just to give you a sort of a rundown of like say Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Let's say Saturday, Sunday, we have off. This is the plan. So with those groups we were talking about, we go on a Monday, we do our Zoom calls. So on a Monday, we talk to our students, in our accountability group. Then we talk to our sales team in our sales group. And then we talk to our marketing team in our marketing group. Then we just have like the big meeting between like me and Jackie. So Scott and Jackie. Does that make sense? Wednesday is like content day where we get this and we put it into the resource dump, if that makes sense. The Thursday is when we film, make videos and ebooks. So it's kind of like turning our ideas into videos. And if we don't have like something yet that we know to turn into a video, we can either sort of fill our resource dump group, or we can go back to our resource dump group, find ideas to turn into videos, if that makes sense. Because we have these boxes, so we know what we're doing, if that makes sense. And then we've got promote day and student feedback. So that's like our calendar. And then we have our KPIs. So we know that like when we run a challenge, or when with our sales team, we know our numbers and we know what we expect of them. And so we know what's possible, so we can grow them by 5% and grow them by 5%, if that makes sense. So that's enough for today. So like if we just go back to the basics, I'm not going to redraw the duck, but you right now should know your price, the problem you solve, the pillars. You should know at least 3 things about your topic. You should have a package that you can offer, and you should be promoting it. And even if you, let's say like the times 20, come up with 20 ways that your promotion can look. Even if you don't post all 20 now, it's like then they're in the bank for the next 20 weeks. So you can post on promotional day every Friday. You need to be breaking things down in a way that makes your energy easier, if that makes sense. So because you're in the rivalry group, what we want you to do is to be as active as possible in here, because we've got a 5-day challenge that we're going to be going through, where we're going to be getting you and showing you how to make the perfect, ideal social media post so that you can earn the $1,000 really, really quickly. Just like with Taryn, if you've seen that video. If not, I'll put a link under this video so you can see it. You need to think in a very different way than what most people are thinking. So guys, I'm so proud of you for being in this group. Let's lift the standards even higher, because that's what this is about. It's not between you and numbers and the internet. It's between you and relationships of the people that you're serving, and the boxes and the systems that save you energy so you can manage those relationships. I'll see you guys in the next video.